Alright, hello everyone. Was having some fun, jamming out to that music, talking to Koss in chat. Also, shout out to Dota Tom. He asked for one. There it is. Shout out to Dota Tom. I can't even say it. Dota Tom in chat.
Reserve time.
I guess it's time to go to work. I went to Montreal yesterday for my cousin's engagement party, and I drove there yesterday morning and drove back today. The drive normally takes 5 hours, but because of the weather and conditions and all that, it took 7.5 hours coming home. A little tired, a little exhausted, but we're here to cast some Dota. I'm excited. We've got Team ASDF. They're going to be playing on the Dire side, and they're going to be going up against Emperor Mao's Chinese
10
Dota.
seconds remaining.
They're actually Team Dust, and
5 seconds remaining.
I don't remember a lot about Team Dust in terms of their playstyle. I just remembered that I was actually pretty impressed
Radiant team
with how they played last time. They were definitely a team that I've seen their name around, but I hadn't gotten around to actually casting some of their games. But I remember that last time when I did cast them, I was impressed. So hopefully we get to see more of that good stuff that we saw last time. And hopefully we get some good games.
10 seconds remaining.
But yeah, we had a little hiccup there with the finding a server. It took about 2.5 minutes for Valve to actually give us a server to play on, but we're loaded in. We've already got quite a bit into this draft. So without further ado, I guess we'll get right into it. We've got Team ASDF opened with banning Dazzle and Vengeful Spirit.
Radiant
Dust
team
responded
pick.
with Axe and Troll. I'm actually a little surprised by Team ASDF's bans. Of course, I don't know what happened in DAC yesterday. I haven't been able to catch up. I literally just got home, got on, started up the stream, and frantically ran around the house doing all the stuff I needed to do.
10
But
seconds remaining.
yeah, so the Dazzle ban's a little surprising to me.
5
but,
seconds remaining.
Yeah, they did choose to ban that, and Venge also got removed, which is a hero that
Reserve time.
I think we saw get first picked every single game on Thursday. I might be wrong in that, but I'm pretty sure she was in every single game, and I'm pretty sure she was first picked every time. But they decided to open with Faceless Void, and the response from Dust has been Lion, which is proving to definitely be a top tier support. He basically... Lion almost
Dire
completely
team pick.
replaced Skywrath Mage. It seems like Skywrath Mage just kind of disappeared as a support, and Lion just came in, filled that spot. Which is interesting. I like Lion. I've always liked Lion. I like the amount of control he brings to a team, and I like the fact that it gives you burst. And I like the fact that he snowballs as a support, but in a very different way. He snowballs off
Radiant
XP.
team ban.
And if he can get to the point where he gets to level 16, and his ultimate practically doesn't have a cooldown. You're
Dire
just
team ban.
finger banging everyone. But you got to get there. But at the same time, if he's not having a good game, he's still able to provide a lot to the team because he provides so much control. And because
10 seconds
he can basically
remaining.
sit back, do like the little bit of control, and then all of a sudden,
5 seconds
use his
remaining.
finger to finish someone off. And as long as he gets his finger off in a fight, he's pretty much
Reserve
done
time.
enough to help his team. So he's always going to be a really, really strong support. They pair him up with Viper, which is interesting. It does give them a situation where if they want to create it, they can just have the Viper against Faceless Void. We're probably not going to see that kind of lane setup, but maybe we will, because the Juggernaut was the second pick from ASDF, which means they've already got 2 cores.
Radiant
Typically,
team ban.
you're going to run the Juggernaut in the safe lane and then just throw the Faceless Void off lane. which is fine. There is an alternative to that. You could potentially put the Jug mid. Probably not going to happen, especially when they saw a Viper pick. But you could potentially
10
run the
seconds
Juggernaut as a
remaining.
support. We'll have to wait and see if they're going to do that, but most likely it's going to be a safe lane
5
for
seconds remaining.
Juggernaut. Then we had Brood Mama banned, followed by Witch Doctor,
Radiant
Bat,
team
and now an Ancient Apparition. And I find it a little surprising that Dust banned out Ancient Apparition. I guess they just don't want to play it, but they banned out 2 pretty decent supports for them. I think the AA has some potential, especially going up against Juggernaut Healing Ward. If he drops down a Healing Ward, especially in the early game when they're pushing,
10
Healing Ward is
seconds remaining.
huge. And you can basically
5 seconds remaining.
drop that Healing Ward and just have it sitting in the
Dire
back,
team
and it
pick.
does a ridiculous amount of healing and no one can get to it. So I'm a little surprised that they didn't, that they banned out the AA, but they wanted to go with the Skywrath Mage, which gives them, which it actually makes sense now. They removed 2 really strong supports that work
Radiant
with Faceless
team
Void
pick.
and Juggernaut. Obviously, Witch Doctor, his Death Ward can be protected essentially by Chrono's positioning. It helps zone, but also allows the Witch Doctor to get in a better position. And the AA ult also basically, it's not hard to throw an Ice Blast on top of Faceless Void Chronosphere. And same thing
10
with throwing it
seconds
across the map
remaining.
when Jug's going to ult someone. It's really strong. But they pick up a
5
Skywrath
seconds
Mage.
remaining.
And the Skywrath Mage works well against both the Faceless Void and the Juggernaut. You get a strong silence against
Reserve
Jug
time.
to basically lock him out so that he's not going to be able to Omnislash. You're also going to make it so he can't spin, but that's less important. It's mainly to stop his Omnislash, so then you can blow him up. And they have the ability to blow him up with Skywrath
team
Mage's ult, Mystic Flare. I'm so proud of myself every time I remember that. Mystic Flare, and, we were talking about it earlier, the Lion Finger. So they've got a ton of burst to basically blow up the Juggernaut. And they also have the ability with both their supports, with a lot of lockdown, to shut out a Faceless Void from him jumping in and trying to get off a Chrono or something like that.
10
So
seconds
2 very
remaining.
valuable support pickups against what Team ASDF has already
5 seconds remaining.
shown so far. They pick up Lich as their first support,
Reserve time.
and that immediately makes me think that that's a Faceless Void Lich dual lane off lane. And I think that's actually going to be pretty strong for them. It also is going to give them a bunch of armor, which, frankly, we haven't seen a lot of physical damage coming out of Dust's lineup. So I don't really see how the ice armor is going to be that valuable. Lich is also kind of a double-edged sword. He can potentially give you a lot of teamfight potential, especially if Faceless Void gets a good Chrono. Chain Frost is going to do a ton of
Team ban.
damage. But if Chain Frost fizzles, Lich provides very, very little to teamfight. He provides essentially a little nuke that almost every support's going to have a comparable nuke for the most part.
10
But
seconds
he provides
remaining.
that ice armor, which, like I pointed out,
5
Dust doesn't really
seconds
have that much
remaining.
physical damage. So the ice armor's effectiveness is a lot lower. Tidehunter was the
Dire
4th pick
team
for
ban.
Dust, and that just gives them a lot of control. It gives them really strong offlaner, and it just helps them set up the potential for them just to step in, really control the fight with those 2 supports, and blow someone up and just take over the
Radiant
fight.
team pick.
Tidehunter, definitely a great pick. Wisp was the last pick, or was the 4th pick, sorry, for Team ASDF. That's going to pair well with the Juggernaut, of course, giving him a ridiculous amount of move speed to get into the fight and get what he needs to get done. And he can also pair up with the Faceless Void for any shenanigans that way, but mainly the Wisp and Juggernaut are probably going to be sticking together. Last
10
bans were
seconds
Tiny
remaining.
and Medusa. I think
5
Dusa actually
seconds
would have been a
remaining.
decent pick for Dust. I typically don't like Dusa as a hero, although I
Reserve
think her
time.
ultimate is incredible. But I think it would have been a really strong pick for Dust. I don't think Team ASDF really has the potential to put a lot of pressure on Dust early on. especially if they come to the point where they have to try to push high ground. Dust has so much control, and just kind of pushing uphill into a Ravage is always going to be difficult. And just kind of trying to force that team early is going to be hard.
10 seconds
You've got Viper,
remaining.
who's, you know, if you park him in the mid lane, you know he's going to do well mid. And the
Dire
other
team pick.
heroes are pretty much strong all game long. They do start scaling as the game goes on, but they're pretty much strong all the time. Morphling was the last pick. I like it. It's a hero that can go late, but it can also fight kind of mid-game. But it's exactly what they needed. They can create a lot of space for a Morphling. And Morphling, frankly, doesn't even need a team to create him a lot of space. Last pick for ASDF
Prepare for
was
battle.
the Puck, which I'm guessing that's their mid. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing with those lanes. I'm guessing it's going to be a mid Puck. But let's introduce the teams. On the Radiant, we have... I completely forget what name they were using in-game. But it's Team Dust. And playing their Skywrath Mage is going to be Katsu. Playing their Viper is going to be 122 Richard Sherman. Playing the Tidehunter is going to be Puff's #1 fan. Playing the Lion is going to be Cheesehead. And playing that Morphling is going to be Jimmy with the Shot. On the Dire side, we've got Team ASDF. Playing their
30
Juggernaut is going to be
seconds to
YOLO
battle.
Swag Rico. Playing the Puck, which I think it is going to be mid, is going to be God's Hand. Playing the Lich, which is already in the off lane, is going to be Clarissa Tander. Playing the Faceless Void is going to be Eleanor. I hope that's a Gone in 60 Seconds reference. Of course, awesome. And playing the Wisp, aka the IO, is going to be Key Wielder. We've got 4 heroes on
battle
Dust,
begins.
making sure that they get this top rune.
Time is money.
Now let's take a quick look at the items. What stands out? Obviously, boots first on Tide and Lion. Nothing too surprising there, but worth mentioning at least. And besides that, not much. I guess we got Faceless Void starting with a Quelling Blade, and he's in the off lane. That's a little surprising. We also have Wisp with no starting gold, or with no starting items, but that's not that out there. So we do have an aggressive tri-lane coming out from Dust, and they're going to park Viper, Lion, and Skywrath in this lane. And that means this Juggernaut's going to get absolutely nothing. He's going to get completely shut down in this lane. They've already rotated their Lich up here. It was originally in the bottom lane with the Void, but they rotated before they even saw these lanes, I believe. Unless they... I don't think any of their observer wards would have spotted it because everyone was hanging out in the top lane. They saw with the Juggernaut early on over here that there was 4 heroes up top. So maybe they just immediately realized it was going to be an aggressive tri-lane. Let's get the Lich up there. They've got the Wisp up here as well. He just bought his bottle. So he just got enough gold to do so. In the mid lane, we're going to have Puck against Morphling. And Morph's already taken quite a bit of damage. He does have one more shared tango left. Or we might have action in the top lane. Nope, Katsu just harassing there. In the bottom lane, it is that off lane Faceless Void going up against the Tidehunter. And I guess you got the Quelling Blade just to have some last hit dominance against the Tidehunter. I mean, you look at the starting damage, you got 68 damage on Faceless Void, you've got 53 on Tide. Do you really need the Quelling Blade? I don't think so, but he chose to do it. Makes last hitting incredibly easy for the Void, and Tide pretty much can't contest him for any of the Radiant creep deaths at least.
Illusion.
But even when it comes to Void denying his own creeps, then he still has quite a damage advantage. Tide basically is going to have to be using his Anchor Smash to try and bully in the lane. You saw him just doing that right now. He even splashed him with a little bit of water from the gush. But yeah, as long as Puff's #1 fan is getting a little bit of CS and working closer and closer towards his Arcane and then Blink Dagger, then he should be perfectly fine. We see the CS right now. He's at 9-0. The Void 11-6. So already showing that last hit dominance in this lane. But Tide's getting everything that he wants, and Void's getting everything that he wants. So pretty even lane. despite the fact that Void is, of course, ahead. Mid lane, Morph versus Puck. Now we see Puck's lost quite a bit of HP. And Morph, he's regained a little bit, but both are relatively low. God's Hand is actually waiting for the courier to go all the way back to base to grab his bottle and deliver it to him, because the Wisp was bottle crowing there. And we might have Katsu and Cheesehead Logic making a rotation over and potentially catching the Wisp. He just used his tether, but he was too close to the Jug for it to pull him away, but he'll be fine. He has increased move speed. With that mid matchup, we've got Morphling leading the way at 14-1 versus the Puck's 10-7, which I'm actually kind of surprised that Puck has that many denies and the Morphling's only got 1. But we look at the damage. We got 70 damage on the Puck. He started with a Null Talisman, and Morphling's 66. So the damage isn't that much of a difference. But the biggest difference in this game is going to be in this top lane where we've got the Viper completely shutting down the Juggernaut. Viper at 19-9 CS, Jug at 4-0. Yikes. That is not what you want. You look at the XP too. Jug just about to hit 3. Viper's already 4. And we start looking at the supports too. We've got Lion at 2.5. We've got Skywrath at 3. Oh, Void Chrono was just using the bottom lane. Katsu TP down. Puff's #1 fan didn't get apparently that low. It's still about 150 HP left. Katsu's in trouble, and oh my goodness. Eleanor getting first blood. He did have a bash there, so it gave him a little bit of extra damage, but still. I'm a little surprised by that. Wow. And I'm missing kill in the mid lane. God's Hand gets a solo kill onto the Morphling. That's something you don't expect to happen, and it looks like he just jumped in with Orb and blew his load, and Morph fell over.
Middle is
He's just 381 damage done, so Morph must have taken a little bit of harass, been a little bit greedy in his lane, and in his positioning, maybe waiting for his bottle to come in. But we're gonna have a wraparound here by Cheesehead and Katsu. And God's Hand is going to be in trouble. Katsu coming in, and we've got the Hex in with the...
nothing.
Oh, I thought it was actually the Waveform that got the kill, but it's not. Cheesehead Logic, or... What is Cheesehead Logic from? I'm not sure, but Cheesehead, I keep wanting to say it every time I say his name. Cheesehead gets the kill with, I believe, a right click there. Puff's #1 fan already has his Arcane Boot, so he's off to a good start. Looks like Eleanor's going for the Mask of Madness right off the start, and that's pretty standard. Puck TPing to mid lane and immediately running to the bottom rune location to get that bounty rune. We've got what kind of item pickups we got going on here? Mainly Viper. Viper chose to go Phase Boots, and he's got a Sage's Mask that looks like he's finishing an Aquila. So not quite going right after a mech. It'll be interesting to see if he chooses to go for a mech. And that really is going to come down to whether or not they feel the other team's going to do a lot of pushing. If that's the case, they're most likely going to pick up a mech, and Dust is going to want to pick up a mech to counter that. And looks like Key Wielder's going to go down here. If Richard Sherman can get one more auto attack off, and there it is. He got the kill. He's going to turn around, try to go after YOLO Swag Rico. And he's Earth Spike slightly off the mark. There comes that healing ward, and look, they dove around the tower. Maybe took a little bit of unnecessary damage, but still fishing for that kill. Unfortunately, not able to get it, as Jug and Lich will both be hiding under the tower. And I think they'll just back off. They are tanking a creep wave here, so
Dire's top tower
no sense taking all that damage. Puff's #1 fan just TP to the bottom lane. Eleanor was just in the lane farming. He's got 80 seconds before his chrono's going to be back up.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Both supports coming all the way back to get some mana. Apparently Koss loves that So I said jumped in, blew his load, and he fell over. Just wait. Just wait till finger banging gets into the action. Gets in on the action. Puffs number 1 fan just getting
Dire's middle tower
pushed
is
back
under
by
attack.
the orb coming out of God's hand. Still interesting to see what Katsu and Cheesehead are going to do. They might actually try to bait this this morph illusion, but it actually will give away the fact that they just smoked. That was an interesting ping that came out from God's hand there. Oh, he just used Dream Coil in the mid lane onto the morph replicate, and that's pretty much going to be a dead puck as they're going to wait for him in. Earth Spike's going to hit him. Katsu's going to finish him off with a right click.
I end your life.
Score now 3-3. Yolo Swag Rico and Key Wielder just made their way to the mid lane. Balls flying around, smacking Katsu in the face. Dealing a little bit of damage, but he should be fine. Io looks like he went a 1-1-1 build, so those balls not doing quite enough damage yet to really put Katsu's HP pool into jeopardy there. But the main problem is this Juggernaut. He's gonna hit 5 here, but God, they need that Omni Slash on or available. Richard Sherman just dove while I was talking about that. Got a kill onto Clarissa. Who, that's a pretty easy kill. Viper just basically, if he gets a Viper Strike off onto the Lich, it's going to be a kill if there's no TP support. And that's the case. And we can see, looking at his stash, that he is going to be going for that that mech. He just finished the Ring of Basilius. He does have the Slippers of Agility still. Hasn't quite made it into an Aquila. He might choose to do so after he finishes the mech, or he may just choose not to do so at all. I'm missing another kill. Man! I know I was a little tired tonight, but shouldn't be missing this many kills. Fire Niz, Katsu, and Cheesehead rotate to make that kill. Oh no, God's hand was not able to phase shift that Earth Spike. Jimmy with the shot will jump on in. He'll get the kill with a waveform. And in the top lane, we're gonna have more action as Yolo Swag Rico and Key Wielder will be wrapping around for Richard Sherman. Chain Frost comes out and he is dead to rights. Courier's gonna fly in, give Yolo Swag Rico a bunch of items as he gets both his phase, and I believe that was the end of, or the finish. That was the completion of his Ring of Aquila. And he also got 6 with that, so maybe now we'll start seeing the Jug able to do a little bit more on the map and start letting Team ASDF set the pace. Speaking of setting the pace, Eleanor jumps in on Puff's #1 fan, who's playing a little greedy, wanted to make sure that they'd get the kill on Eleanor, but essentially he just stayed around for his death. Now Eleanor leaps forward, gets a kill onto Cheesehead, and it's a 2-for-0.
Dire's middle tower
Frankly, they could have just completely disengaged. So Puff's #1 fan making a little bit of a mistake. He wrapped around there when he could have just exited out this way. Jug using the Omni Slash in the top lane, getting the kill onto 1-2-2 Richard Sherman. So just like that, 3 kills go in favor of Team ASDF. I said level 6 on Jug was going to be important. They got 3 kills as soon as it happened. He may have been completely across the map for 2 of them, but looks like they're even going to get another one here as Eleanor leaps forward. God's hand will throw the orb, and there we go. That's the 4th kill now, as Katsu falls. And now I guess it's worth looking at Cheesehead, because he's the only one who hasn't... No, he did die. Who didn't die? It's the Morphling. The Morph hasn't died yet. Jimmy, I believe it's your time. No, he's playing a little safe here. It doesn't look like he's going to get picked up. But let's take a quick look at our last hits as... You know, I mentioned earlier this Quelling Blade and the fact that he's going to essentially be uncontested when it comes to last hitting in this lane up against the Tidehunter. Our Void, 89-8 right now. Tide only managing 49-1, but still respectable CS on a Tidehunter. And if we take a look at his gold right now, he's at 1700 gold. He's already finished his Arcane Boots. He even picked up a Magic Stick. So he's getting pretty damn close to his Blink. It's probably going to be around 14-15 minute Blink Dagger, which honestly that's perfectly fine. Yeah, you'd like it maybe a little bit earlier, but the timing's perfectly acceptable. And Faceless Void, it really just sets him on a path so that he's quicker to get what looks like his Ag Scepter here as he's going for that. So it's not, you haven't really given up all that much. And I think that's a perfectly fine trade. Speaking of trades, are we going to even have a trade here? Maybe, as the Chain Frost is going to be jumping around. Katsu's going to go down. The Ravage was used. That got them the kill on the YOLO Swag Rico in the bottom lane. Eleanor getting a solo kill on a Richard Sherman. And he used the Chrono for that. Looks like Puff's #1 fan's going to go down as well. Dream Coil getting used by God's Hand. And action all over the place. 3 heroes die on the side of Dust. They only got the kill on the YOLO Swag Rico. They did use Ravage for it, but a lot of ultimates came out from Team ASDF. Once again, Jimmy not taking the fall. And he will use the replicate here onto to Lion. And he's going to jump in. He's just going to use that to be his escape so he can jump on out. Balls. Oh, finger banged is Gods as he's going to go down. Jimmy was getting smacked in the face with balls. Now it's Katsu and Cheesehead's turn to take some balls to the face. Richard Sherman has respawned. He's going to start charging at them, but no, he's actually just going to back up. He did use the mech to get Katsu and Cheesehead back up in terms of HP. So they're ready to fight once again, but the dire side is completely retreated. The closest hero is YOLO Swag Rico, who's just farming up this easy camp. Or pull camp, I should say. It's not the easy camp.
Under attack.
I mean, I
Dire's
guess technically it is.
structures are fortified.
Who knows what I'm saying. Richard Sherman getting a kill on the tower. He will get slowed by that Lich, and Eleanor TP'd in with YOLO Swag Rico with the wraparound. This is going to be one dead Viper. Cheesehead wants to help. He is Invis, but choosing not to come out of Invis, and that's probably the right decision. Even Key Wielder and God's Hand hop in with the relocate. I'm not really sure where Key Wielder came in from. Okay, it was the town. I thought that was potentially where it was.
Dire's middle
Because of
tower
that,
is under
because of
attack.
basically 5 heroes all showing up at the top lane for Team ASDF, they're not going to be able to get, Dust isn't going to be able to get a kill with that Invis onto Cheesehead, and it's just going to be wasted. You see it expire right there.
Radiant's top tower
One
is
important
under
thing
attack.
did happen in favor of Dust
Dire's
while all that was
bottom
going on,
tower
and that
is
was
under attack.
Puff's #1 fan picking up his Blink Dagger. And they're even going to try to push this Tier 1 tower, but Team ASDF is going to come to defend it. While that's going on, they have YOLO Swag Rico pushing past the Tier 1 tower in the top lane to put a
Radiant's
little bit
top
of pressure on
tower
it.
is under attack.
We had TP come in from Katsu, and we've got another one from Jimmy with the shot, and a third from Cheesehead. Richard Sherman's going to come in, but YOLO Swag Rico says, you know what, I'm just going to spin to win, and I'm going to TP away, and you guys just wasted 3 TPs and a little bit of your time, and, well, I'm just going to TP back to base, get a little bit of health and mana, and just go right back to farming. Let's look at God's Hand. 2150 gold, so if this was a couple patches ago, he would have his Blink Dagger, but not quite there. 100 gold away from it. Clarissa already making decent progress towards a mech, which is decent for a support at this point in the game. He's actually has 29 CS. He was able to get a little bit of CS in that top lane, as he can keep sacrificing and bringing the creep wave back to the Tier 1 tower, and he got a little bit of CS that way. And Jug was mainly sitting in the jungle with Key Wielder, so that allowed the Lich to get a little bit. And oh, here we go. We've got a Chrono being used, but it looks like it's going to go the other way as Cheesehead's there with the Earth Spike. And Eleanor taking a bunch of damage, but YOLO Swag Rico with the Omni Slash is going to get the kill onto the Viper. Key Wielder is going to take a fall as well as Jimmy with the shot is going to jump in with the waveform, not the shot, but the waveform, and he's going to get the kill onto the Wisp. It is a 1-for-1 trade. We look at the fight recap. Not much gold changing hands or XP really, but it is just a 1-for-1 trade. But on the back of that, Dust is going to look to pressure this Tier 2 tower, and you know what? They've got a decent amount of HP. They do have a little bit of a small mana pool onto Katsu, but it's not like he's going to have to throw out a Mystic Flare. It's still going to be on cooldown for another 20 seconds, and I think they're going to back before that is the case.
Middle tower is under
They do
attack.
still have Ravage,
Radiant's
and a
bottom
Blink
tower
Ravage
is under attack.
to note on Puff's #1 fan. And they looks like they are going to stick around here. It is 4 heroes actually 5 heroes, sorry.
Radiant's bottom
Excuse me,
tower is
as
under
the
attack.
Viper's now made his way up here. And they're trying to push against 3.
Radiant structures are fortified.
They're going to have to make a move on this tower soon, because while they're just messing around in this mid lane, and are they going to back? I heard a TP, nope. Wow. the dire side's actually going to push forward. And Jimmy's in trouble, but there's the Blink Ravage. And we have a disconnect from Eleanor. Wonder if they're going to pause here. But God's Hand's going to go down first. Looks like Key Wielder's going to go down as well. Pause comes out now. That was a little bit of unfortunate timing there. But, yeah, Team ASDF maybe getting, maybe, just reading chat, maybe getting a little overzealous there, pushing out with just 3 heroes. I was about to mention that they had Eleanor farming in the top lane, and Yolo Swag Rico farming in the bottom lane. He did get the tier 1 tower, but while that was going on, the 3 of them tried to push out against what they had already seen? Who knows what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say. They already saw 5 heroes from the Radiant side, and they tried to push out as 3 on them. They got a decent amount of damage onto Jimmy, but they knew that was eventually going to turn around. And speaking of turnaround, Eleanor has a Tidehunter. Smacking him in the face with an anchor.
Radiant's top tower
Puff's number 1
has
fan. It's
been
going to get the
denied.
deny on that tier 1 tower. So, 2 towers.
Radiant's
2 tier 1
bottom
towers
tower
fall
is under attack.
in favor of Team ASDF. Yeah, sure, one of them got denied, but pushing out as 3 heroes in that mid lane against 5 was definitely a mistake, and they got punished. They lost 2 heroes because of it. You could say, yeah, the disconnect was ill-timed, and maybe Eleanor was looking to TP and join in, but I don't know. By the time he DC'd, he would have had to TP, would have had 3 seconds. The chrono would have arrived, but it would have been pretty late. I'm pretty sure Team ASDF would have already lost the 2 heroes. So maybe they would have been able to get another kill in return, but their timing was definitely a little off there with pushing out as 3 with no TP support. Looks like Team ASDF's going to go after Roche here. And that's a Wisp up on the high ground. Going to be pretty protected there.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Roche will fall. Yellow Swag Rico is going to be holding on to the Aegis. Let's actually switch over to net worth, and let's look at the teams and see how they're faring right now. Team ASDF in the lead with just over 4,000 gold lead over Dust, and looks like they've been in the lead for basically the entire game, despite apart from the first minute or 2 of the game. And I think that's definitely going to be because of the amount of farm that Void got in the bottom lane, and despite the fact that Jug really didn't get anything, he's recovered quite well. He's 3rd highest in net worth in the game, 7,577. It's going to go up to 78 here in a second. No, apparently I can't do math. Net worth, and I mean, considering he got basically 0 CS out of the lane. Oh no, Puff's number 1 fan in trouble here as God's Hand was sitting in Viz, and with the Wisp relocate, suddenly 5 heroes from Team ASDF show up to the party. Puff's number 1 fan was not invited. He gets sent back to where he came from, and that's the Radiant Fountain. Key Wielder and Yellow Swag will just return to the bottom lane and farm up these creeps that have pushed straight up to his tower. Actually, quite surprised to see this tier 1 tower still standing, especially when they've got a Tidehunter. I think they can pretty easily put a lot of pressure on this tier 1 tower in the bottom lane with a Tidehunter and a Ravage. They have a really strong 4-man lineup without the Morphling. And basically they can just say, okay, we're going to make the rotation over there and send someone here or somewhere around this area while, you know, the Morph is going through clearing the jungle or something like that. He makes a replicate. He makes the rotation to the mid lane to go farm. Everyone else goes and pushes 4-man bottom. If something happens like a Wisp TP or something like that to put some pressure on the 4 of them, Morph jumps in and suddenly it's a 5-on-5 fight. If his team isn't able to back. If they are able to back, that's fine. You know, you just forced a rotation out of Team ASDF, including a Wisp relocate that's had to be used defensively. And you've put some pressure on them on the tower while your Morph's just free farming away solo. And Eleanor just had to use a chrono there onto Jimmy with the shot, and it was a defensive chrono just so he could get out of there safely. Clarissa took a little bit of damage from the Morphling, but we'll be fine in the end. Both teams just kind of sitting around farming at the moment, and I guess that gives us time to to quickly cycle through the heroes here, see what we've got in terms of items. We've got the Viper with the mech that we already mentioned, and he's got a point booster, so working towards his Egg Scepter. Nothing surprising there. We've got the Blink Dagger and a Ring of Regen, 900 gold as well on top of the Tidehunter, so he should have his 4 staff relatively soon. Still about, oh, Wisp relocating the bottom as Richard Sherman's in trouble. He's got a Jug, a Puck, and a Wisp, and, well, he's 6 feet under now. As he dies. Omni Slash getting used there. Man, that's the Wisp. Just going to relocate and pick people off, and that's why I think they need to stay together, as at least for Katsu in trouble here as the Chrono getting used there. Eleanor, maybe, was that a little bit of a taunt? Just kind of standing there waiting? Maybe that was a little bit of a taunt. I don't know. Oh my goodness. Puff's #1 fan gets picked off. How did that happen? I'm guessing, yeah,
Radiant's
Dream Coil?
bottom tower
No,
is
Dream
under
Coil
attack.
still on cooldown. Wow. So a Puck and a Jug, without either of them having an ultimate, managed to get a kill onto a Tidehunter. I'm not really sure how that happened. But the Tide will take the fall. And I guess we should keep going through the items real quick. I did notice that
Radiant's bottom
we've
tower
got
is under
a Blink
attack.
Dagger up on Cheesehead. No, we're going to have more action as Richard Sherman's in trouble, taking a bunch of right-click damage. Cheesehead's there with a stun. He will only hit Eleanor, though. And Katsu, oh no, in trouble as well. They're going to try to chase him down, but he may potentially be able to get on out of here. Never mind. God's Hand's there to pick him off. He goes down and, out of frustration, draws all over the map. Not sure what he was trying to draw,
Middle
but
tower is under attack.
didn't look too organized. It was all kinds of scribbles. Kappa comes out in the form of the mini-map. That didn't make any sense, but it's on the mini-map. Whatever. Jimmy with the shot jumps in, blows up Wisp, but I think he's gonna... Never mind. It's like I've never played Dota with a Morphling before, apparently. I was thinking he was gonna die, but of course he's not. He's just gonna jump right back to his replicant and just go back to farming. So
Radiant's
good
middle
aggressive
tower
play
is
coming
under
out
attack.
from the Morphling, getting the kill on the Wisp. But they are going to lose their tier 1 tower. Unfortunately not able to
Radiant's
contest
middle tower
and
has
at
fallen.
least try to get a deny there. But I mentioned the Blink Dagger onto Cheesehead. We also had an F-Blade just picked up by Morphling right before he jumped in, and actually maybe it was a little bit earlier before that, but fairly recently, within the last 2 minutes or so. So picked up by him. He also has a Yasha on hand, which I'm guessing he's going to build towards a Manta. Probably not going to go a Sandy. And on the Dire side, we've got a Jug with a Manta, as I say that. What do we got? We got a Puck who's halfway to an Egg Scepter. And I'm a little surprised to see not a Yules on this Puck, but he is going to go with an Egg Scepter. I typically don't like Egg Scepter on Puck, but we'll see how that's going to work out for God's Hand. What does our Lich have? Well, he finished the mech, and looks like Clarissa's getting close to an Egg Scepter, almost halfway. Already got the point booster and 900 gold, so almost at that 1,000 for the second
Dyer's
item with
middle
that.
tower is
We've
under
got
attack.
a Void with an Egg Scepter, almost in a
Dire's
BKB as well.
structures
All
are
that's in the
fortified.
stash, so that's going to come out of nowhere when it comes online. And our last hero is the Wisp, who's got an Urn, got an Arcane Boots, and that's pretty much all he needs. Cheesehead just blows up Clarissa with the help of the Morphling. Oh, there's the big Ravage. Eleanor's going to go down here, and YOLO Swag Rico is going to go down as well.
Dyer's
He
middle
disappeared.
tower
I thought
is
maybe
under
he got
attack.
the Omni Slash off, but I'm pretty sure the Ancient Seal was on him. So Katsu on top of that, and quick and easy 3-man wipe in favor of Dust.
Dyer's middle tower has
And when
fallen.
when all 5 of them get together, their team fight is so strong. And they're
Dire's
going to
middle
push
tower
a tier
is
3
under
on the back
attack.
of this. They still haven't touched this tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. But they are going to push this tier 3 tower, and Key Wielder just gets blown up by that
Dire's
F-Blade from the
middle tower is
Morphling.
under
Jimmy
attack.
with the shot from the Morphling gets the kill. God's Hand, unfortunately, gets into a little bit of an issue here, as he will use the Dream Coil to actually keep himself alive. Katsu taking a ton of damage from the towers. He does have the
Dire's
Urn on him.
middle
He's going to
tower
take
has fallen.
tick out, maybe 14? No, 13 HP was the lowest he got
Dire's
to.
middle
Key
barracks
Wielder,
are
maybe a
under
little bit
attack.
disappointed with that. Maybe should have, or maybe wanted to
Dyer's middle barracks has fallen.
maybe try and hit him with
Radiant's
the
top
balls there,
tower
but
is under attack.
he was pretty far away, pretty safe after the urn went out. So we see one pretty much our first big team fight of the game, and it goes
Radiant's top
Dust
tower
favorite.
is
They
under
get
attack.
a tier 2 on the back of it, then a tier 3, and a melee Rax. Huge fight for Dust. But don't count ASDF out of this, and let's actually take a look at the gold graph. ASDF pulled ahead to almost a 12k gold lead prior to that fight. But look at how important that team fight was. Brought it down to about 4k gold lead. So Team ASDF still, in terms of net worth, in the driver's seat, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult with that melee Rax down. The Radiant creeps are just going to constantly put a lot of pressure on in the mid lane. And, you know, you can always put a hero there to farm and kill those creeps off, but you get less XP for killing creeps when you've lost a Rax in that lane. A lot of people don't know that, but you actually do get less gold. I believe the XP is the same. I'm not actually sure about that, but I know the gold is definitely lower. But still, we've got everyone kind of farming. It looks like maybe the Dire's going to be grouping for a push here in the middle lane. They've got 5 heroes here, and Dust is ready for it. They've also got 5 heroes in the mid lane.
Radiant's middle
And this is
tower
probably going to be
under
the
attack.
most contested tower of the game so far. Is this tier 2 in the mid lane. And Eleanor in the high ground, waiting to leap, but he doesn't know. He's standing right on top of an observer ward placed by Katsu. Oh my god, he just gets blown up. Cheesehead even uses the finger bang, but it's backtracked. There's a Ravage comes out, hits 4 heroes, and we're going to have Key Wielder go down. Cheesehead also already felt Jimmy with the shot, almost going down to Yolo Swag Rico, but he will get away with a waveform down to the low ground. Katsu trying to put some pressure on. He got the silence off on Godhand, but he will go down from the spin to win from Yolo Swag Rico, who also takes a fall. Jimmy with the shot comes in with basically no HP to finish him off there. Where is he? Did he jump? Where? Help! He jumped all the way back to the top lane, but he basically had no HP, so I'm guessing he just morphed or something. Who knows? Who knows? It's morphling. That hero never dies. Even when he's low. He never dies. He can be like 5 HP, doom, silence, everything in the world to potentially stop a hero, stunned, and somehow he still doesn't die. Morphling, a little bit of a special hero in this game. Apparently nothing stops him from morphing. So annoying.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But once again, I think that was a Dust favored team fight. I think.
Illusion.
It felt Dust favored, and you know what? They had a great opening to the fight. They jumped up on this high ground and they just completely blew up Eleanor. And they used the finger. But it got backtracked. And despite that, Eleanor just completely disintegrated. And that was without most likely Mask of Madness. I'm sure he wouldn't have popped Mask of Madness when they jumped on him. He didn't get the Chronosphere off because of the silence from Katsu, and he just got blown up so quickly. His team was not able to respond.
Radiant's bottom tower has been denied.
Speaking of response, there's going to be no response from Dust here as
Roshan has fallen to
ASDF
the
takes
Dire.
another free Roshan,
Dire's
and
middle
it's nice being
barracks are
Dire,
under
isn't it?
attack.
Yolo Swag Rico once again is going to be holding on to that Aegis. He has since picked up an ultimate orb. He's got 2,800 gold on hand, so
Dire's
ultimate
top tower
orb
is
and
under
2,800
attack.
gold. I don't know. It makes me want to think sheep, but it could very well be a Scotty. I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see. Sheep is always good, no matter what hero you are in the game. If you can afford a sheep, it's just good. I don't care what hero you are. It's one of the best items in the game. So he could choose to go with that. Most likely, I think he's probably just going to be
Dire's
going
top
after
tower is under attack.
a Scotty, and I think that's probably the right play too. He needs the HP pool. He's only at 1,600 HP, and especially when he can get silenced, and that forces him to use his Manta. He's got to hold on to his Manta. So if he uses it for some other reason early on, he's going to be incredibly vulnerable. So he needs something to keep him alive, whether that's more HP or BKB to come out of the silence or something. Yeah, he used the Omni Slash there on the Morphling, and that forced Jimmy with the shot to jump away, but he jumped away right to Eleanor, who had the chrono down. Cheesehead comes in and says, "That's not fair, guys. That was my
finest
teammate.
work.
Here, have a
Dire's middle
finger.
barracks are under
And
attack.
it did basically nothing.
Dire's middle
And she's head's gonna go
barracks
down
has
as
fallen.
well. So 2 hero kills with what looked like rather poor engagement. Oh no, this is a great engagement. But it's right into Ravage. Key Wielder's gonna go down. And there's the silence on to Yolo Swag Rico, who almost gets a kill on Katsu, but Katsu using that Ghost Scepter to stay alive. God's Hand now hanging around with Swag Rico on the respawn. And they're going to try to chase. God's Hand will jump forward. Will use that silence to nuke down Katsu. Eleanor leaping in as well. Gets a couple stuns onto Richard Sherman. And we've got a completely split fight here. Viper Strike being used onto Eleanor. He's probably not going to be able to get the kill there. We have... Oh, actually, there we go. Eleanor throws out the Chrono. I think that just came up. We had Puff's #1 fan TP away. He went right back to Fountain. I think there was a projectile in the air flying to him, but maybe it didn't come all the way to Fountain. But we saw it flying across the air as we saw Eleanor get the kill onto Richard Sherman. There we go. Second ultimate orb bought by the Juggernaut. So definitely going for Scotty. And that'll give him the HP pool. It's either that or going for a BKB. And frankly, I think the Scotty's just better in this situation. So definitely a good choice for him. Eleanor, we saw him basically done the BKB, so he has actually finished that. He's holding on to that. Clarissa, getting closer and closer to that Egg Scepter. 500 gold away from that. God's Hand, BKB, Egg Scepter. Still not a big fan of the Puck Eggs, but I guess we'll see how that works out for him. Key Wielder, no progression in terms of his items. Oh, the Scotty is actually finished. Oh, we got a Wisp Relay Cave on the Cheesehead here. He's not having a good time right now. He's already used his Blink and his Force Staff, and that means he's dead. Eleanor will get the kill there.
Your chronology is.
But I don't think they're really going to be able to do anything on it. It's just a little bit of extra gold and just taking over the map a little bit more. And well, they're actually potentially gathering for a top push. They're pinging out here. So I'm not sure if they want to just get a ward up there or what. But yeah, some pings came out from a God's Hand, I believe. We do have a pause here from Dust, and that gives us time to go over their items. As we've got Puff's #1 fan. Looks like he's almost done a refresher. So, well, I say almost, but he's almost got the 900 for the quarterstaff to finish the Oblivion staff. I almost forgot the name there. But then, of course, he needs that huge amount that you need for the refresher orb recipe. But once he has that, that means 2 Ravages online, and that could be absolutely devastating for Team ASDF. Like I said, those Ravages are great at buying the time that Dust needs to get in position and really take over the fight and control the fight with their heroes like Skywrath and the Lion. And if you've got 2 Ravages, that just makes it even easier, especially when you've got a hero that can basically morph to, I don't want to say full agi because you never go full agi, but a lot of agi. And Jimmy will do a ton of damage, and he's going to essentially be protected by that second Ravage. Of course, he needs to be careful from any burst potential, but if he knows he can sit in with low strength, high agi, he can do a lot of damage before that second Ravage is over, and then he just morphs back and basically doesn't die because he's morphling. What else do we got in terms of item? We saw the Ghost Scepter
Radiant's top tower
being
is under
used
attack.
incredibly by Katsu to stay alive for quite some time in that
Radiant
little
structures are fortified.
scuffle in the bottom lane. But he did eventually die.
Radiant's
Sure,
top
2 towers going to
has
go down
fallen.
here. Katsu is the only one kind of hanging out, just harassing back, and maybe just trying to bait them in to go for him. He had Cheesehead, Richard Sherman, and Jimmy all in behind him. But I think they're just going to kind of sit back and farm a little bit more. Puff's #1 fan, like I said, getting closer and closer to that refresher orb, but still not really that close. Items. There we go. We've got plate mail picked up by Richard Sherman. I'm guessing he's working towards an AC, and that's actually fantastic for his team. It means Well, in terms of right-click damage, the Morphling's going to do a lot more. But mainly it's a defensive item as well for his team, as the main sources of damage coming out from this dire side is going to be the Juggernaut. And he deals a ton of physical damage, and the Faceless Void. So you've got the AC giving everyone a little bit more armor. That's going to be a great pickup for them. He's still going to take him a little bit to get there, but AC isn't that hard of an item to get. Cheesehead, I mentioned that he picked up his that he had his Force Staff on cooldown, but I don't think I mentioned when he picked that up. So he has since picked up a Force Staff. And I believe Morphling's our last one, as Jimmy now just finishes his Butterfly, and I timed it just for that. That's why I was waiting to cover Jimmy last. As he finishes his Butterfly, he also has the Ethblade, which you see him use, and the Manta. He's been using those all game. Katsu, uh-oh. Guys, I found him. 5 heroes. They're all in our jungle. Katsu getting picked off.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Huh. I mean, Perseverance only builds into 3 items. Battle Fury, which I don't like eggs on Puck, but I definitely don't like Battle Fury on Puck, so hopefully it's not that. But it also builds into a Bloodstone and a Refresher Orb, so I'm not sure what... I believe those are the only 3 items that builds into. I have to go to this shop to look at that, I believe. There we go. Huh? There we go. Oh, it builds into Lincoln's. Holy crap. Guys, I've played Dota before. I know it's really hard to believe, but I've actually played Dota, and I was actually decent at it at one point. But that builds into a Lincoln's, which is definitely what the Puck's going to be picking up. God. I knew I was tired for this game, but this is... I was missing kills. I don't even know what items make what. I keep thinking Cheesehead Logic instead of Cheesehead, and I don't even know what that's from. I think that's actually another play. I don't even know. I'm gonna have to Google that after the game, I guess. Jeez, let's refresh it. There we go. Something save me. Refresher pickup by Puff's #1 fan. That's the most important thing going on right now. And we may have a push in the top lane. JK creeps in the mid lane. That melee rack's paying off dividends as the Radiant creeps managed to get that range racks and just put enough pressure on that mid lane that ASDF looks like they had been grouping to potentially go and push top. Nuh-uh, they have to go back and defend. They send 2 heroes back, Eleanor and Key Wielder. And now, instead of being on the aggression, they're gonna have to come defend. But if they choose to defend this is defending probably one of the hardest tier 2s to defend in the game. And as they TP in, Jimmy had just TP'd to the top lane. So we're not going to see a fight. We're not even going to see a push for a tier 2 yet. But what we are going to see is the gold graph. And it's still Team ASDF favored. And it seems like as there's time to farm in the game, it is Team ASDF favored. And pretty much, except for that one team fight, which went incredibly dust favored, it's been all ASDF when it comes to farming. But if you can't win team fights, it's going to be very, very difficult to win the game. So we'll have to see if this this net worth advantage is going to pay off for them, as we haven't seen it so far. Oh, we're going to see a smoke. Okay, it's a refresher puck. That's all right. I've seen that before. That's not bad. That kind of makes sense with the Egg Scepter pickup. I think the Lincolns would have been a good pickup too. And the Lincoln's not for Puck. Lincoln's, of course, you can cast it on a teammate. You can cast it on your Juggernaut. And he also picked up a BKB. But I mentioned he needed to pick up something like a BKB or an HP pool or something like that to at least cover when he gets silenced. Yes, he can Manta out of it, But if he has to save his Manta for that, his Manta has very, very little effectiveness besides just getting out of
Dire's top tower is under attack.
the silence, and in which case, frankly, I would have probably just preferred a BKB instead. But he got the Eye of Scotty to give him a good HP pool, and had Puck picked up a Linken's, he could have just had the Linken's onto the Juggernaut, and that would have forced the Skywrath to throw it in an Arcane Bolt before he's able to silence. And you think, look at the cooldown Niz on Arcane Bolt. It's a 2-second cooldown. What's the deal? Like, it's got no mana cost practically. Of course Katsu's going to use that before he gets the silence off. But I'm pretty sure, with a decent amount of certainty, I'm not gonna put any percentage to it, but I'm pretty sure that the Linken's doesn't proc until the Arcane Bolt lands on the target, and I believe the exact same thing happens with Concussive Shot. I could be completely wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works with Arcane Bolt as well. And Arcane Bolt flies ridiculously slow, so that would give the Jug plenty of time to react and say, okay, you know what? The Linken's has been procced. I didn't even spend my gold on it. Or Puck picked it up for me, so that the Jug would have even more effectiveness, and I can continue to play really, really aggressive. But in the end, Puck goes with the Egg Scepter. Oh, Katsu.
My dreams.
Was that 2? Maybe 3 shot? I don't know. Chain Frost was used there, as well as the Chrono. And Puffstorm and Fan and Richard Sherman, they're pissed off. They want to go help. Ravage getting used. It would have hit 3, but Eleanor used the BKB, so it only hit 2. Richard Sherman now is going to go down as YOLO Swag Rico uses the Omni Slash. Puff's #1 fan just desperately trying to run away. He'll force staff himself down to the low ground and TP away. He will get hit with the Frost Blast, but he will be fine in the end. But Dusk getting picked off. Maybe forcing a little bit too much to try and get a kill there. And Team ASDF will take their 3rd Roach of the game, and I really don't see Dust being able to defend this. They do have 1 Ravage available. The Refresher was used, so that is up. But we're going to see the 3rd Roach go down. And who's going to pick it up? I imagine YOLO Swag, yep. He's going to pick up the Aegis, and who's going to hold on to the Cheese? Key Wielder's going to be the one holding on to that. But the point I was trying to make, with God's Hand picking up the Refresher, and especially with the fact that he has an Egg Scepter, it's probably going to give them a little bit stronger team fight, which is what they need. And YOLO Swag Rico went after that BKB, so that's perfectly acceptable too. It gives him essentially the same thing that the Linken's would have given him. The only place where the Linken's situation will be better is as the game gets a little bit further, because, well, you typically don't want, if you don't need the BKB, you don't want your carry having to hold on to a BKB. It's going to essentially be a little bit of a wasted spot when he could be stacking on more damage or something like that. But the Refresher is perfectly acceptable on the fucking, oh my goodness, Cheesehead with the finger bang. He finger banged God's Hand. That's just weird. Eleanor leaping in, throwing down the Chronosphere. Once again, we get a Chain Frost, and it's not going to bounce anywhere. Jimmy not even dying. Ravage coming out. There's the Aegis getting procced. Eleanor using his Refresher. We'll throw down the 2nd Chrono. Katsu's going to go down with that. Jimmy has arrived on the scene after jumping away to a Replicant, and he comes back in to kill Eleanor. YOLO Swag Rico using the Omni Slash. Richard Sherman getting incredibly low. He's going to go down. Puff's #1 fan. He's like, TP, please, please, please. Nice round, no. Puff's #1 fan goes down. YOLO Swag Rico getting the kill there. And that was a 3 for 3 plus Aegis, I think. That's what it looks like. XP change, nothing. Gold change, a little bit Team ASDF favored. Not sure how that works out that way. Guess because of streaks, but somehow Team ASDF with the gold lead gets in a 3-for-3 trade a little bit more gold. Not sure how that worked out, but they get a little bit of a gold, furthering their gold lead with that fight. She's not used by Key Builder there. I guess he didn't see a good opportunity to use her or wherever, but he will still have that. And of course, we saw the Aegis getting used, so that's no longer on the table, at least until the next Roche, which Team ASDF's gotten all 3 so far, so maybe they'll wait around just for the 4th. Katsu got completely blown up. Don't think he managed to get off a Ghost Scepter. Of course, he was inside the Chrono when he did die, so you can't use items when you're inside Chrono.
Dire's structures are fortified.
What other items we got? We got the AC finished on the Viper. Chain Frost. Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure Lich is right here. I can hear the Chain Frost, but it's just getting used onto the Creep Wave. And that's going to allow them to get an easy deny. But this team really loves Egg Scepters. How many Egg Scepters do they have? Let's actually bring up the other item board. They've got 3 Egg Scepters and 2 eggs, or 2 refreshers. Finger Bang. Clarissa gets Finger Banged. Alright, Cheesehead. It's going to go down. God's Hand jumping in. Speaking of jumping in, Eleanor jumps in, and then Puff's fan jumps in, says, look at the Ravages. So he throws out 2. Oh, there comes the Dream Coil, but I think it's going to be too late. I don't know. It's hard to say. This fight definitely now going Dust Fairs. They're going to try to chase down Yo Swag Rico. He's spinning, but he's already been hit by the Viper Strike. Actually got hit by it after he started spinning, so that's why he's all slowed. Puffs gonna chase God's Hand, forcing him away, and says, hey, there's a gem here. After we killed that Lich, so he's gonna pick that one up. So now he's got a gem for the team. And we've got a buyback. Yolo Swag Rico's gonna buy back. He says we can't lose another tier 3 guys. Definitely can't lose Rax, as we've already lost 1 set. So he's gonna spend the money to buy back and get on into this game, and that's gonna force Richard Sherman and Puffs to back away. Whew. I was caught a little off guard after I said that Clarissa gets finger banged.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Maybe a little inappropriate. Should I put an R rating on the stream now? Yeah. Let's look at items before I keep saying stupid stuff. Got Katsu. No progression. Like, come on, dudes. 49 minutes into the game. No, he's been doing a good job so far. We've got a Vitality booster getting picked up by Richard Sherman. Building into Heart, I guess. Yep. Definitely not going to go Vanguard at this point in the game. I imagine. I mean, he could go Crimson Guard, but yeah, not worth. Probably just going into a Heart, and that's okay. But he does have a Vitality booster. What else do we got? We've got a disconnect on Eleanor, so thankfully we got a pause immediately. We've 1,000 gold on top of the Tide Hunter. I'm not sure what he's going to be going for. He should be saving buyback, that's for sure. So he's probably going to sit on a little bit of gold for a while. Most of these players are going to start saving buyback. Got a Ghost Scepter picked up on Cheesehead. What has our Morphling got since we last looked? Last time we looked, I believe he had the Scotty. But he's also... The Helm of the Dominator is definitely new, but he's got 2,500 gold. So I imagine he's getting closer and closer to his Satanic. On the Dire side, we've got Javelin on the Juggernaut. MKB, I'm guessing, to counteract Jimmy's Butterfly. What does the Puck got? We've got the Refresher and about 2,000 gold. I'd really like to see him get a Sheep. That would be incredible, especially when he refreshes the Sheep and he's got 2 Sheeps. That would be really, really, really valuable for him. Eleanor just reconnected, but Dust would like it to remain paused, so we're still going to have to wait. Looks doing pretty well so far. It's had the Egg Scepter for a little while, but I like the concept that they're going with we've got Chrono and we can get an Eggs Chain Frost. So it's just jumping around like crazy. The problem is I mean, I guess Clarissa, they said, you know what? Let's use Chain Frost every time we get the Chrono. The problem is like, the Chrono's been hitting one hero sometimes. And the Chain Frost still comes out and it just fizzles immediately. It just hits once. And yeah, it's a good chunk of damage. How much damage is actually? 550 damage with Scepter before magic damage. Yeah, it's a good chunk of damage. It's a decent nuke. But it would be so much more value if, one, they can catch more in the Chrono, or two, they just hold on to it and don't use it as a nuke unless they really need it to kill off that target. But if they just hold on to it, they can... The Lich has so much strength in a team fight when Chain Frost is still available. The other team has to make sure that they're incredibly spread out and they're ready to spread out. They already have to do that because they have to respect the Chrono and they have to respect the Dream Coil. So they already have to stay spread out. But once both those come out, and I guess that's part of the value of them having 2 Chronos and 2 Dream Coils, they're forcing their opponents to stay spread out the entire time. But if those already get burned, then Lich still forces them to stay spread out. But ideally they've got four different ultimates that are going to lock people in place. So Clarissa needs to line up that Chain Frost with one of those when it's on more than one hero. I've seen too many times the Chain Frost just fizzle. And I really think if they land a big Chain Frost once, it's just going to absolutely demolish Dust in a team fight. Which is hard to do because you're going up against Double Ravage and a Morphling who's 5,000 net worth above anyone else in the game right now. So yeah, he's a little bit rich. I don't even think I finished looking at the items on the Dire side, but we've got that refresher. We've got, oh yeah, I finished on Lich before I got sidetracked. We do have that refresher on Eleanor. We've already seen 2 Chronos come out back to back.
Regeneration.
We've got another 1,700 gold. What about Key Wielder? Got an Ochre Club, 1,700 gold. What is that? BKB? They do like Egg Scepters, but I don't think they're going to go Egg Scepter on the Wisp. Yeah, I mean, Ogre Club can build into a lot of things. That could even be a Halberd, which wouldn't be the worst, I guess. I don't think it'll be the best either. I don't really know if he needs the BKB, though. I don't know. I guess we're going to have to sit and wait and see what Key Wielder chooses to go with that Ogre Club. But we do have 4 heroes on the Radiant side kind of gathered in the top lane. Jimmy's all the way down here. He does have a replicate out, and he's going to jump to that as I say it, which is up in the top lane. Dyer's made a rotation to the bottom lane to come defend. And, I mean, that's no big deal. They can just TP up to defend their tier 2. The problem is that YOLO Swag Rico also made that rotation. He doesn't have a TP. They do have Wisp, though. They can use that to go defend. Key Wielder's going to come down and pair up with the Juggernaut, and they're probably going to do just that. Eleanor needs to TP now. They have basically no concave to defend this tier 2 tower, and they're going to choose not to, which is probably the right call as well. But they're definitely going to have to defend their tier 3 here. And Roche is about to respawn. No one actually knows that yet, as that's a very early spawn that may have actually been right on the 8-minute mark. I'm not sure, but it was a very early Roche spawn, so neither team has actually checked that yet.
Is under attack.
Right before this fight, Rico picking up his MKB. Means he's not going to have enough for a buyback, not even close, but just picking up his MKB. So, hitting his timing right at the right time. Well, what is Dust going to do here? They're definitely hesitant to try and engage, and rightfully so. You know, 52 minutes into the game, team fights are absolutely gigantic. If they can win this team fight, they pretty much are going to win the game. If they lose this team fight, well, they're probably not going to get punished too much in terms of building damage. They might lose their tier 2 tower in the mid lane. They might lose more. They're definitely going to lose Roche. So it's quite a significant team fight if they lose. They're not going to lose the game, though. They might lose the game as a result of that Roche, but they're not going to immediately lose the game. So they definitely want to take their time setting this up because it is a win potential, but they don't know that they're sitting on top of a Dire Observer Ward. And that's going to make the initiation kind of hard. Ooh, they may have actually been waiting for that, as Sherman was just, Richard Sherman was just sitting there farming away. And he just finished his heart. So Jug hit a timing. Well, so did 122 Richard Sherman.
Radiant's bottom tower
say
is under
122.
attack.
I'm guessing it's a reference to 322. I don't know. Are they just gonna back up? I think they're just gonna back away. Well, that's anticlimactic.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Jimmy, gonna go farm. Uh-oh. We got a Wisp relocate, and YOLO Swag, Rico, and Key Wielder are gonna try to go on Jimmy. I think they were actually just looking to push and put some damage onto this tier 3 tower in the bottom lane, maybe even get racks, but Jimmy arrived on the scene at the right time. Wow. That's 6 cents. He's gonna jump right up into the top lane. That was actually just really good timing. He definitely didn't know that that was gonna happen. Oh wow, that worked out really well for him. Team ASDF just couldn't catch a break there. That was a really great play from them. So you know what? Our creeps are there. That means we're not going to be going up against backdoor protection. Let's just jump in. We can easily, with the Wisp relocate, take out a tier 3 tower and the melee racks, maybe even the range racks as well. And we'll just jump right back up to the top lane. And we'll be there for them trying to retaliate by pushing. Great play by them. Unfortunately, Jimmy arrived on the scene right at the right time using his replicate. He's got a line replicated here. Trying to bait out and engage, but Cheesehead is standing next to it, so they know it's at least on Cheesehead. Uh-oh, Richard Sherman getting caught in the Chronosphere. There comes the Chain Frost. It's still jumping around, barely. Oh, there we go, it's still going. Puffs jumps in, throws out a Ravage, and we've got a second Ravage comes out, but we also have a second Chronosphere. Puff's going to go down first, but Eleanor's going to go down as well. Key Wielder now is going to go down. Cheesehead, he's already got off the finger bang, and I think he's going to go down. Yep. Puck gets the kill there. Katsu caught in a Dream Coil. He's going to go down, and this is definitely a Team ASDF favorite fight. 4-4-1. We did have a buyback on the Wisp, although not necessarily necessary. There still is a gem on the ground. Apparently, they're just going to leave that there. No one noticing it, I guess. But now they're going to storm down the mid lane, and they may actually peel off to go for Roche. We'll have to wait and see. YOLO Swag Rico is running over there for sure. Going to pick up Bounty Rune, so even getting a little bit more gold. And wow, picks it up right before the 56-minute mark, and that means double damage has to spawn if you're going for Roche. That's just how the game works. So he's going to have a DD to make sure this Roche drops even quicker. And you know what? I said it. There's two ways that fight can go. Dust wins. They could win the game on the back of it. If they lose, they're losing Roche and maybe this tier 2 tower in the mid lane. I think they're actually going to get away with not losing their tier 2 tower. But they did lose Roche. And now Team ASDF says, you know what? Let's still push. They're 4-man up. They just respawned. Their Viper's still down for 10 seconds. We think we can still take this tier 2 tower. And they're going to get it uncontested. So I was right. They got the tier 2 tower and the Roche. See, I told you guys, I've actually played this game. I know how it works. They are going to push the tier 3 tower. Eleanor is going to leap in, throw out the Chronosphere. Richard Sherman, Cheesehead, and Jimmy are caught in it. The Chain Frost doing a ton of damage this time around. That's the Chain Frost we've been looking for. Cheesehead, Richard Sherman, and Katsu all going to go down. YOLO Swag Rico is going to lose his life here, but he does have Aegis, so he's going to pop up in a second. Key Wielder's going to go down. Can't buy back. He's still on cooldown from that. From the buyback early. Jimmy with the shot is going to go down. Jimmy the dead, but never mind. Buyback. He's back in the game. But just Puff's alive. The other 3 heroes don't have buyback.
This time,
Cheesehead apparently just ticks up with amount of gold. He buys back. Puff's #1 fan jumping in. YOLO Swag Rico's spinning. He's actually low on HP, down to about 700 HP. Will get finger banged by Cheesehead. Cheesehead also sees Clarissa, says, hey, we want to kill you too. Come here. Clarissa gonna fall. Eleanor was actually lucky. He was kind of hanging around. Oh, he comes back. He's gonna show his face. I think I just heard a Ravage go off. That must have been at the bottom lane, as we've got Well, Clarissa is going to go down, then we got a buyback. Will Eleanor go down here? He's going to leap away. Looks like they're not going to find him, but God's Hand and Puffs were in some kind of fight in the bottom lane. Ravage was used. Dream Coils, I guess it wasn't used because it's going to be up in 5 seconds. No idea what happened in that bottom lane. We definitely heard a Ravage go off. And it's definitely on cooldown. He hasn't refreshed it, so he's going to wait because he wants double refresher. What a fight. And while I was talking about that, Eleanor gets picked off. I don't even know how that happened. I was just completely oblivious, apparently. But Eleanor gets picked off. Who even got the kill? It's Jimmy with the shot gets the kill on that one. Also, while I was talking all that nonsense, we got a Sheepstick, a Scythe of Vice getting finished by God's Hand. And we even have a Force Staff coming out for the Lich. That's actually a decent pickup for a Lich at this point in the game. And you say, dude, it's 60 minutes into the game and you're just getting a Force Staff. But Force Staff's incredibly important, especially against a Ravage. If your allies facing the opposite way, facing basically back, you can save them from a Ravage so they don't get hit with the second Ravage with a Force Staff. Tier 4 is going down. This could be the fight. God's Hand's going to jump in, uses a Dream Coil, but he's going to go down. And there we go. We've got a Ravage coming out. The second one's not available. I can't even click on Tide. We've got a huge Omni Slash dealing a ton of damage, but it's so split. And as soon as that ends, he gets finger banged by Cheesehead Logic. He will buy back into the game. The second Tier 4 is going to go down. Katsu uses the Ghost Scepter, but he gets hit by that Chain Frost, which is now just continually jumping around. Will wipe out the Creep Wave. It's going to jump to Cheesehead, then it will fizzle. Richard Sherman was really close. Not sure how it didn't jump to him. But will he get the kill onto Clarissa? I think he will. Clarissa's buyback's on cooldown as well. Jimmy with the shot. Now, attacking. YOLO Swag Rico. Cheesehead. Oh my goodness. Taking a ton of damage, but we'll get the Ghost Scepter off in time. Finger Bank's going to be up in 7 seconds. YOLO Swag Rico and Key Wielder running back to the fountain to get a little bit of HP before they come back in and fight. Jimmy with the shot. Is their focus target. The throne down to 500 HP. 200, 100, 2. They win. Dust get the win before YOLO Swag Rico and Q Wielder are able to defend it. It was 2v3, but well, Dust chose to rush the core there at the end, and the throne core. I've been playing too much Heroes of the Storm apparently. The throne, and it will go down. That was a pretty exciting game. Just over an hour and 28 minutes. That was a good game to start off the night. I don't know if I can cast the rest of the tournament with an hour-long game, but that was a good way to start off the fight, or start off the night. I can't even speak. Damn. Well, I had a lot of fun casting that game, and we've got more to come. We're gonna follow Dust into the next round. I believe that should be the quarterfinals. Round 5. I think it's the quarterfinals. But yeah, we're gonna follow them, so we should have a lobby up shortly. I'm not sure if the opponents already waiting for them, but they were the last round 4 match to start, and well, they just played an hour-long game, so most likely their opponent waiting for them. But yeah, we're gonna cast that one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the cast so far. I'm Niz. Hit that follow button on Twitch to watch some more stuff, because I cast every Thursday and Sunday night SCS. So hit that follow button and you can come check out whenever I'm casting. You can also follow me on Twitter at NizCast. Tweet about everything going on with the cast, with the tournament. And yeah, so hit that follow button too.